All because I fought my brother-in-law for the last piece of braised pork at dinner. My husband slapped me right across the face. My mother-in-law and brother-in-law thought I'd just take it. Instead, I flipped the table on the spot, and the whole restaurant went dead silent. If I don't get to eat, nobody does. And that wasn't even the worst of it. My husband won a 1 million lottery prize and immediately wanted a divorce. I said yes, packed a few clothes, and walked right out. A year later, I was stretched out on the couch in my new villa, sipping wine and scrolling through gossip. The place was luxurious, with a beautiful garden outside. Meanwhile, my husband Chen Feng was buried in debt and eventually suffered a stroke that left him paralyzed. My mother-in-law, Zhao Gilan, had to work odd jobs, care for him and my father-in-law Chen Jianjun, and still pay off the debt. Her life was miserable. And it all started with Chen Feng winning that 1 million prize. A year earlier, after Chen Feng won 1 million, he bought his mom Zhao Gilan a year-long beauty clinic membership, got his dad Chen Jianjun the collectible he'd wanted forever, bought himself a brand new car, and set up an education fund for our son Chen Yuxuan. Me? I got nothing. Watching him act like that was completely normal made my heart go cold. Later, when I was bedridden and barely hanging on, I grabbed his hand and begged, "Please, give me some money for treatment. I don't want to die." I'm the one who earns the money. Why waste it on someone as sick as you? If you die, you die. You think you're using our money for treatment? Not a chance. They just watched my health get worse day by day, until I finally died in pain and despair. When I opened my eyes again, I shot upright, drenched in cold sweat. I stared at the familiar floral bedsheet and cheap clock on the wall, my head buzzing. I pinched myself. It hurt. This wasn't a dream. I'd gone back to the day before Chen Feng's lottery win. "Lin Wan, why are you spacing out? Go buy the ticket. Maybe we'll really hit the jackpot, and the whole family can live the good life." I laughed to myself. Jackpot? Not this time. None of you were getting your wish. Then Chen Feng tossed an old lottery ticket at me, and the crumpled paper hit my arm. He snapped, "When you go downstairs for groceries, buy this ticket too. Use the same numbers as always, don't forget." I deliberately loosened my grip, and the ticket dropped to the floor. You can't even handle one tiny thing. You drop a lottery ticket just holding it? You're getting more useless by the day. You sit at home doing nothing, and now your brain's rusting too. Can't even hold on to a ticket. I stared at the old ticket on the floor. Those numbers burned into my eyes. In my last life, that exact set won Chen Feng 700,000 and helped lead me straight to a lonely death. Ignoring their insults, I bent down, grabbed the ticket, and clutched those life-changing numbers tight. Then I rushed out of that house without looking back. In my head, I said, "Chen Feng, Zhao Guilan, this time you're going to pay for what you did." I hurried to the entrance of the neighborhood and flagged down a cab. "Driver, take me to the most out-of-the-way lottery shop in the city, and please hurry." Seeing how anxious I was, the driver stepped on it. The city blurred past the window. Just like the past, I was desperate to leave behind. When I reached the lottery shop, I pushed open the door. The owner was alone watching TV. I wrote down the numbers burned into my memory, my fingers trembling from nerves. "Boss, what's the most I can buy on this number set?" I based the numbers on the set Chen Feng always played, then changed the last 2 digits to the jackpot combination. In my last life, his version had won 700,000. Right after that, he told me, "I'm taking Mom, Dad, and Yuxuan out to eat. You stay home. You don't like restaurant food anyway." But he knew I cooked, cleaned, and cared for our child every day until my back ached so badly I could barely stand straight. I only wanted a decent meal once in a while, and when years of exhaustion finally wrecked my health, they still wouldn't spend a cent on me. Lying in that hospital bed, I cried, "I'm your wife, you can't just let me die." But they only watched coldly. In the end, I took my final breath. This time, I wasn't just going to ruin their fantasy. I was leaving that family for good and letting them deal with their own mess. The lottery shop owner adjusted his glasses, looked at the numbers, and said, "The max is 6,000 on one bet. Miss, are you sure you want to spend that much?" I thought about it. If I won too much, I'd attract attention, and Chen Feng's family might come after me. Better to keep it low-key. I smiled. "I was just asking, give me 3 bets. With the current prize pool, 3 jackpot bets would still pay around 15 million. More than enough to start over, and get far away from every person and problem ruining my life." The owner quickly printed the ticket and handed it over. "Keep it safe, good luck." I held that thin piece of paper like I was holding my whole future, tucked it carefully into an inside pocket, and pressed my hand over it. My husband won a 1 million lottery prize and immediately wanted a divorce. I said yes, packed a few clothes, and walked right out. A year later, I was stretched out on the couch in my new villa, sipping wine and scrolling through gossip. The place was luxurious, with a beautiful garden outside. Meanwhile, my husband Chen Feng was buried in debt and eventually suffered a stroke that left him paralyzed. My mother-in-law Zhao Guilan had to work odd jobs, care for him and my father-in-law Chen Jianjun, and still pay off the debt. Her life was miserable. And it all started with Chen Feng winning that 1 million prize. That day, Chen Feng sent me to buy the ticket. The shop owner adjusted his glasses, checked the numbers, and said, "The max is 6,000 on one bet. Miss, are you sure you want to spend that much? I thought about it. If I won too much, I'd attract attention, and Chen Feng's family might come after me. Better to stay low-key. I smiled. I was just asking, give me 3 bets. With the current prize pool, 3 jackpot bets would still pay around 15 million. More than enough to start over, and get far away from every person and problem ruining my life. The owner quickly printed the ticket and handed it over. Here you go, good luck! I held that thin piece of paper like I was holding my whole future, tucked it carefully into an inside pocket, and pressed my hand over it so it couldn't possibly disappear. Walking out of the shop, I started planning. I'd moved far from home to marry Chen Feng right after college and had never worked outside the house. In this city, apart from that suffocating family, I had almost nothing tying me down. Chen Feng used to tell me, without me, you couldn't even feed yourself in this city. I'm the only one who'd put up with you. His whole family used that weakness against me, ordering me around and putting me down whenever they felt like it. I searched the prize claim process and location on my phone, then decided to rent a furnished apartment nearby. I quickly booked a viewing with an agent. I told the agent, I want good security and a quiet place. Price isn't an issue. The agent showed me several places. The last one, an apartment by the river, won me over instantly. From the balcony, I could see the wide river flowing below, and just looking at it eased some of the tension in my chest. I told the agent right away, I'll take this one. Let's do the paperwork now. The agent rarely met a tenant that decisive and lit up. Wow, you don't waste time. I'll get everything ready right now. Once I paid the rent, the agent handed me the keys. To be safe, I immediately called a locksmith too. When he arrived, I told him, put in the most secure keypad lock you've got. The safer, the better. I watched him remove the old lock and install the new one, which only opened with a code. Finally, I could relax a little. Once everything was handled, I locked the lottery ticket inside an apartment drawer and covered it with a few clothes. Then I took a cab back to my usual market for groceries. To keep Chen Feng from getting suspicious, I bought a random lottery ticket at the shop by the market and held it as my decoy. The moment I opened the door, I saw Chen Feng sprawled on the couch watching short videos and laughing. Without even looking up, he asked, "You got the ticket? Where'd you put it?" "Just put it in my coat pocket." "Took you long enough to buy groceries. Bet you were sneaking off to relax again. All you know how to do is loaf around." I deliberately stomped across the floor. After slipping the ticket into his coat pocket, I turned to Chen Feng with a hard look. "Am I this family's maid? Do you pay me a salary?" "What do you mean? I'm your wife, not hired help. I don't owe you non-stop labor. For years I've cooked, cleaned, and raised our child. I've worked harder for this family than you do at your job. What gives you the right to talk to me like that?" Chen Feng was speechless. His mouth opened, closed, then finally he snapped, "You're unbelievable!" The second Zhao Guilin heard that, she rushed out of the kitchen. "Lin Wan, have you lost your mind? There's so much work to do and you disappeared for half the day without a word. If that's not slacking off, what is? Were you out treating yourself?" I put the groceries in the kitchen, came back out, and gave her a sideways glance. "Are all of you helpless? Is everything supposed to wait for me? You have hands and feet. Can't you cook? Can't you clean? Our family spent plenty bringing you into this marriage. We didn't do that so you could sit around like a princess. You don't work. My son supports you, so you should do the housework. If you can live with that, stay. If not, divorce him. My son is handsome, successful, and capable. He could marry a young woman any day. Forget your son. Your husband could leave you and marry someone younger and prettier too." Zhao Guilin got so mad she started pounding her chest, pointing at me with a shaking finger. "Enough. Are you two done yet? Lin Wan, go cook. I'm hungry." I stopped responding to Zhao Guilin and turned toward the kitchen. Behind me, she gave a contemptuous snort. "Talking back to me now? Just wait. I'll deal with you later." Not long after, my son Chen Yuxuan came home from school. The second he walked in, he threw his heavy backpack and coat at me. "Mom, put these away." This time, I didn't bend down to catch them like I always had. The backpack and coat dropped right at my feet.
"Why didn't you catch them? Pick them up."
I ignored him and kept chopping vegetables. The knife thudded against the cutting board, letting out my pent-up anger one chop at a time. Today was my second chance at life. I'd bought all my favorite spicy ingredients, and I wasn't letting those two ruin my mood. I quickly made spicy shrimp, hot ribs, poached fish, and chili oil, plus 2 mild vegetable dishes. The whole table was packed and everything smelled amazing. "No sweet and sour ribs, I don't eat this. You did that on purpose, didn't you? You know I love sweet and sour ribs." "I've told you we can't handle spicy food, and you still made all this? You're obviously trying to start something. What's your problem?" I ignored them, picked up a spicy shrimp, and bit in. The crisp shell cracked loudly in my mouth. "Get up! Lin Wan, my mom is talking to you. Are you deaf? How are we supposed to eat all this spicy food?" "What's wrong with it? It's delicious. Spicy food gets your appetite going. Smells great too." "You're the only one here who eats spicy food. Who are all these dishes for?" "You know I like spicy food, so they're for me. The 2 vegetable dishes aren't spicy. You can eat those. They're so bland even a dog wouldn't eat them. Then I guess it makes sense you won't. Forget it, I'm too mad to eat. Grandpa, wait for me! Chen Feng and Zhao Guilan got up too. Before leaving, Chen Feng threw one last nasty comment at me. This meal doesn't count toward the grocery budget. I'm taking it out of your spending money next month. That allowance was already tiny, barely enough for basic household items. I tilted my head and raised an eyebrow, completely unfazed by his threat. Then I happily enjoyed the first meal of my second life, eating to my heart's content. Before they came back, I showered and went to my room. I grabbed my tablet and started reading recent news and business ideas. In my last life, everything revolved around my family. I'd never lived for myself. This time, I would. Lin Wan is getting ridiculous. She eats our food, wears what we buy, and still doesn't know her place. She's getting bolder every day. Soon she'll be walking all over us. Exactly. If we don't put her in her place now, she'll think she can do anything. Our Chen family doesn't need a daughter-in-law like that. Once I get rich, she's the first one I'm throwing out. She can go far away and never come back. I'm sick of looking at her. I sat in my bedroom listening to them and gave a cold laugh. In my head, I thought, we'll see who throws whom out. In my last life, I knew nothing about the law or my rights to marital property. When Chen Feng refused to pay for my treatment, I thought I had no options. This time, I'd studied the rules carefully. I was going to make sure Chen Feng didn't get a cent more than he deserved. I put down the tablet and eagerly waited for the next day's drawing. Chen Feng was a longtime lottery player who never missed a draw. He knew the schedule by heart. The moment results came out, he grabbed his phone and started scrolling. Suddenly, he shouted and jumped off the couch. I won! I hit the jackpot! Chen Jianjun and Zhao Guilin rushed out of the bedroom, their faces full of excitement. Zhao Guilin asked eagerly, Son, how much did you win? Is it a lot? Chen Feng glanced toward my room, eyes darting, then pulled them into a bedroom and lowered his voice. Keep it down, don't let Lin Wan hear. If she finds out, she'll want to cut. I got second prize, 700,000. Zhao Guilan's eyes lit up, her voice shook with excitement. 700,000? That much? Chen Jianjun stopped her. Quiet. Go claim it right away. Get the money safely in hand before anything goes wrong. Chen Feng nodded quickly. You're right. I'm going now. Hearing that, I slipped back into my room and pretended to scroll on my phone. Chen Feng came in right after me, grabbed his coat without a word, and rushed back out like the money might disappear if he was 1 minute late. But not long after, he stormed back in, shoved open my bedroom door, and slammed it against the wall with a bang. He rushed up to me and pointed in my face. Lin Wan, the ticket you gave me is old. Where's the new one? Did you do this on purpose? His eyes were blazing with rage like he wanted to tear me apart. I gave him an innocent look. How could it be old? You watched me put both tickets into the pocket. Why would I lie to you? Chen Feng grabbed my collar so hard it felt like he might rip it. I'm not making this up. I went to the lottery shop. They said this ticket is old and expired. It can't be claimed. Tell me where the new ticket is. My heart jumped. I hadn't expected him to figure it out that fast. But I stayed calm. Take it easy. I'm sure I gave you the new ticket. Maybe you dropped it when you went out, or it fell somewhere along the way. Look again carefully. Chen Feng's eyes went wide as he yelled, I checked my pocket before I left. The ticket was right there. You must have switched it and hidden the real one so you could take the money yourself. You're unbelievable. I stuck to my story. I never touched it. Maybe you were too excited and missed something. Check again. My voice stayed firm and steady. Fuming, Chen Feng searched every inch of his coat, turning every pocket inside out. He even pulled at the lining, but there was no new ticket. Enraged, he threw the coat onto the floor, kicking up dust. I checked every pocket. There's no ticket. You definitely hid it. I pretended to be clueless and asked in shock, How much did you win? Why are you freaking out? His eyes were red as he shouted, Second prize, 700,000, 700,000. I acted stunned. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. Then why are we standing here? Start looking. Maybe it fell between the couch cushions or under the bed. As I said it, I pretended to get up and help search. Thanks to my performance, the whole family went crazy, turning the house upside down. Zhao Guilan ripped the couch cushions off. Could it be here? Check again. Chen Jianjun crouched by the bed. Look over here too, don't miss anything. But that random ticket had already gone down a drain when I'd pretended to put it in the pocket and secretly pulled my hand back out. They could search forever and never find it. I kept insisting. I gave you the ticket. You must have lost it yourself. Chen Feng had no proof, so he couldn't do a thing to me. He could only pace in circles, cursing, Useless, all of you are useless. The house was a disaster, with things scattered everywhere. Everyone was irritated and started blaming each other. Zhao Guilin snapped at Chen Feng, This is your fault! Why didn't you keep the ticket safe? Chen Feng shot back, My fault? If you hadn't pushed me to buy tickets, none of this would have happened. I volunteered. Looks like it got lost outside. I'll go look. Maybe I can still find it. Looking at the wrecked house, there was no way I wanted to be stuck cleaning it alone. This was the perfect excuse to get out. I found a restaurant, ordered sweet and sour fish and kung pao chicken, and ate slowly. Now this, I thought, is how I should have been living. Then I went to a print shop, printed the fake serious illness medical report I'd prepared in advance, sealed it in an envelope, and headed home at my own pace. The house was silent. They'd probably gotten hungry searching for the ticket and gone out to eat. Perfect. I couldn't have asked for better timing. I hurried to my room, put the envelope in my bedside drawer, packed my personal things into a suitcase, and slid it under the bed. I was ready to leave at any moment. I'd barely finished when Chen Feng's family came back. From their defeated faces, they'd clearly searched outside and found nothing. Chen Feng saw me coming out of the bedroom, and his anger instantly flared again. He rushed over and shouted, "Lin Wan, did you already know that ticket had won? Did you sneak it away while Mom, Dad, and I went inside? Tell me the truth!" His voice was full of suspicion and rage. I shouted right back, "I spent half the day helping you look. If you don't believe me, call the police. I gave you the ticket last night. Since then, you've been drinking with friends and going to the lottery shop. You don't even know where you lost it, and all you can do is yell at me. What kind of man is that?" My words stopped Chen Feng cold. He'd never expected the woman who used to obey him without question to fight back this hard. His pointing hand trembled, his face turned red, and he couldn't get a word out. I watched him with a cold smile while planning my next move. Now I just needed him to bring up divorce himself. Seeing him pant with rage, I forced myself to sound calm. "Take it easy. Let's think about where the ticket could still be. Maybe there's still hope." But Chen Feng wouldn't listen. "We turned the whole house upside down and found nothing. You know where it is, tell me." I shook my head. "I really don't. Think carefully. Besides the family, who else did you talk to about the ticket? Could someone else have taken it by mistake?" I was trying to calm him down and shift his attention away from me. After thinking for a moment, Chen Feng's eyes lit up. "Right. I mentioned it while drinking with my buddies last night. One of them must have taken it. I'm going to ask them." He grabbed his coat and rushed out. I knew he'd find nothing, and I was secretly thrilled. Out of sight, out of mind. With Chen Feng gone, I could finally enjoy some peace. But Zhao Guilan wasn't letting me off that easily. "Lin Wan, stop standing around. Clean this place up. It looks like a pigsty and it's driving me crazy." I answered sweetly, "Okay, I'll clean it now." I grabbed a broom and got to work while secretly figuring out how to create an opportunity. After moving a couple of drawers, I suddenly stood up. I deliberately staggered toward Zhao Guilan, who was standing there supervising. She tried to dodge, but it was too late. Pretending to pass out, I collapsed onto her, and we both hit the floor with a heavy thud. Chen Jianjun dropped what he was holding and rushed over to help Zhao Guilan up. "Easy, easy. Did you hurt yourself?" Even Chen Yuxuan came over shouting, "Grandma got knocked down!" But he didn't look very worried. Zhao Guilan angrily kicked me twice. It wasn't hard, but the malice was obvious. "You useless woman! You can't even clean without passing out. You're nothing but bad luck." Chen Jianjun helped Zhao Guilan onto the couch and rubbed her arm. "You're fine. Just rub it a little and it'll feel better." Chen Yuxuan eagerly handed her water. "Grandma, have some water." Meanwhile, I was still lying on the floor and nobody cared. The cold seeped through my clothes, but inside I felt strangely calm. These were the people I'd served for 10 years. So much for being family. They kept criticizing me for a while. Zhao Guilin complained, "She's faking it. She just doesn't want to work." Chen Jianjun agreed. "She's getting worse and worse." Only when they noticed I truly wasn't responding, eyes shut, face pale, did they finally start to worry. Chen Jianjun frowned at Zhao Guilan. "She's just lying there. Should we call an ambulance and get her checked? If something happens, we'll have a real problem." Zhao Guilin snapped, "Ambulances cost money. We need our savings for Yuxuan's school. Why waste it on her? Have Yuxuan rub some menthol oil on her. She'll wake up, cheap and easy." Chen Yuxuan obediently brought over menthol oil, dipped a finger in it, and rubbed it right near my eyes. The sharp sting instantly made my eyes water. I couldn't keep pretending anymore. I coughed weakly and slowly came to. In a faint voice, I said, "Did I pass out again? My head is spinning." Chen Yuxuan turned excitedly to Zhao Guilan. "Grandma, I woke her up!" He sounded ridiculously proud of himself. Zhao Guilan walked over and asked with fake concern, "What's wrong? Are you feeling sick? Do you need to lie down some more?" I pressed my fingers to my temples and played dumb. "I'm fine. I've just been dizzy lately. Maybe I haven't rested enough. I'll be okay after some sleep." The second I said I was fine, Zhao Guilan dropped the act. "Then go rest. Clean tomorrow. Don't pass out again and hold up the housework." I thought, one day at a time. By tomorrow, I might not even be living here anymore. I nodded weakly, pushed myself off the floor, and slowly made my way back to my bedroom along the wall. Every step felt heavy, not because I was weak, but because I'd finally lost all hope in this family. Chen Feng stayed out all night again, probably searching for the ticket until dawn or drinking away his frustration. Early the next morning, I got up as usual and made breakfast for everyone, porridge, fried eggs, and a simple side dish. Just as I finished, Chen Feng walked in reeking of alcohol. His hair was a mess, his eyes were bloodshot, and he looked exhausted. The moment he saw me, his face tightened with disgust. He didn't bother speaking, just went straight to the bedroom to change. Chen Jianjun, Zhao Guilan, and Chen Yuxuan came out for breakfast on time and sat around the table eating in silence. Chen Feng came back out with a dark expression and gave me a long look full of resentment. I calmly served him a bowl of porridge and set it down. Have some, it'll help with the hangover. Suddenly, Chen Feng flipped the bowl over. Porridge splashed across the floor, rice scattering everywhere. He shouted, "This is all your fault. Because of you, I lost that ticket. 700,000 was right in my hands, and now it's gone. If it weren't for you, I'd already be buying a new car." My eyes reddened as I played the hurt wife. You lost the ticket, and all you can do is take it out on me. I'm your wife, not your servant. Why should I put up with this? Haven't I done enough for this family all these years? Chen Feng roared, "You're nothing but bad luck. Nothing good happens with you around. You don't deserve to be my wife. I want a divorce, right now." The whole table froze. Chen Jianjun, Zhao Guilan, and Chen Yuxuan stared at him, chopsticks suspended in midair. Zhao Guilan recovered first. She hurried to stop him. "Son, think carefully. Lin Wan may be useless, but she does all the work, laundry, cooking, childcare, and we don't even have to pay her. A daughter-in-law this easy to manage is hard to find. Divorce would be such a waste." I knew exactly why Zhao Guilan objected. She didn't want to lose her free maid. Without me, she'd have to clean and help with the child herself. I'd expected this, which was why I'd prepared phase 2, that fake medical report saying I was seriously ill. Chen Feng said grimly, "I've made up my mind. That Jinx can't stay in this family. She'll only drag us down. I'm divorcing her. End of discussion." I squeezed my eyes until tears came and choked out. "You're divorcing me over one lottery ticket that nobody even knows how it got lost? We've been married 10 years. Does 10 years together really mean that little to you?" I kept my voice trembling. "Are you really that heartless? You're abandoning me over a ticket that may never be found? How am I supposed to live on my own?" Chen Jianjun joined in too. "Marriage isn't a game. You two have been through so much, from having nothing to owning a home and car. Don't make a life-changing decision in anger. Think it over." But Chen Feng had made up his mind. He replied coldly, "I know exactly what I'm doing. She can't stay here. Keeping her around will only bring us more bad luck." Inside, I laughed. So Chen Feng had seen the fake medical report I'd left in the bedroom after all. He was terrified my illness would cost him money, so now he couldn't get rid of me fast enough. I wiped my tears and pretended to give up. "If you're that determined, I won't force you to stay. Fine, we can divorce, but I want my child. I'm taking Yuxuan. I can't live without him." Chen Feng froze, clearly not expecting that demand. Surprise flashed across his face. He stayed silent for a moment, about to answer, but Chen Yuxuan cut in first. "No, I'm staying with Dad. I'm not going with you. You're useless. If I stay with you, I'll be poor." I'd raised him for 9 years, caring for him from the day he was born, and this was what I got back. It hurt like a needle through my heart, but mostly I felt relief. Better to see the truth now. I could finally cut every tie to my past and start over with nothing holding me back. Zhao Guilan immediately objected too, hands on her hips. "Yuxuan is the eldest grandson of our Chen family. He's our bloodline. What makes you think you can take him? You have no job, no income, and no skills. You can't support my precious grandson. Don't ruin his future." Chen Feng wouldn't let me argue. He ordered me out. "I'm divorcing you, period. Get the marriage certificate and come to the civil affairs office with me now. Stop making trouble." I deliberately dug in my heels. "I'm not going, fine, divorce me, but I'm taking Yuxuan, otherwise I won't sign anything." Chen Feng finally lost patience. He marched into the room and started throwing my things out. Clothes, shoes, and makeup scattered across the floor, and some of my clothes were even torn. As he threw things, he yelled, "You won't leave? Fine! I'll throw everything out and see how long you stay." Zhao Guilan went in to say a few words, but soon she came out with a dark face too, carrying my suitcase. She threw it down, the case popped open, and my things spilled everywhere. She pointed at me. "Go finish the divorce paperwork. Stop ruining this family's luck. The sooner a bad luck woman like you leaves, the sooner our family can finally turn things around." I crouched down like I was heartbroken and slowly packed my things back into the suitcase. My movements were slow, but inside, I felt unbelievably light. I could finally leave this suffocating place. Without saying a word, I headed for the door. I didn't look back. Chen Feng and I said nothing the whole way. The silence was heavy as we walked straight into the civil affairs office. The clerk at the counter gave us a professional smile and asked, "May I ask the reason for the divorce?" Chen Feng answered first. "We're incompatible. We can't keep living together." His voice was full of impatience. I calmly nodded and didn't argue. There was no point. The clerk continued. "Have you agreed on child custody and division of property?" That question hit a nerve. Chen Feng instantly exploded. "What property is there to divide? I bought the house and the car. She's eaten my food and worn what I paid for all these years without earning a cent. She's a freeloader. Why should she get any of my property? Not happening. People nearby heard his cold, arrogant rant and couldn't help looking over at us with obvious disgust. A newlywed couple nearby frowned at Chen Feng. The bride turned to her husband and said with disgust, "If you ever treat me like that, we're going to have a serious problem. I wouldn't forgive it." The groom immediately went into damage control mode. "I'd never pull something like that. I'll treat you right for life." The clerk gave me a helpless, sympathetic look. I swallowed my anger and answered, "We've agreed. He gets custody. I don't want the property either. I'll leave with nothing. I just want the divorce." The clerk nodded sympathetically. "Then I'll start the paperwork. After the 30-day cooling-off period, come back together to collect the divorce certificate." I turned and looked deeply at Chen Feng. The man I'd loved for 10 years and cared for 10 years had become the most familiar stranger in my life. Chen Feng gave me a disgusted glance and walked away without another word, as if I were something dangerous he couldn't escape fast enough. Outside the civil affairs office, the sunlight was almost blinding. I quietly exhaled. Phase 2 had worked. I only had to get through the 30-day cooling-off period, and then I'd finally be free of this family for good. Dragging my luggage, I took a cab straight to the apartment I'd rented. Once inside, I dropped my bags and did nothing but lie on the couch, staring at the river outside. Sunlight shimmered on the water as boats passed now and then, leaving ripples behind. For these next 30 days, I needed to keep a low profile. I couldn't let Chen Feng notice anything strange, or all my work could fall apart. Every morning, I woke up with nothing I had to do. If I wanted food, I ordered delivery, Sichuan, Cantonese, Western, whatever sounded good. I never had to cook while watching someone else's mood again. Once I was rested, I'd exercise, follow yoga or cardio videos, or walk through the park downstairs and breathe fresh air. Whenever my parents called, I'd smile and say, "I'm doing great, don't worry. I've just been busy lately, so I haven't had time to come home." Aside from those calls with my parents, everything was perfect. For the first time in over a decade, I had no stress, no pressure, and nobody's mood to manage. Life had never felt this peaceful. Maybe happy days really do fly by. Before I knew it, 30 days were up. I put on a plain outfit and went to the civil affairs office barefaced, deliberately making myself look a little worn out so Chen Feng wouldn't get suspicious. But I'd been taking such good care of myself lately that my skin was rosy, my eyes were bright, and I looked healthier than ever. The second Chen Feng saw me, his eyes lit up. He clearly hadn't expected me to look this good. He probably thought I'd show up crying and completely miserable. I couldn't let him start having second thoughts, so I quickly looked away and headed to the service counter first. The clerk glanced at us, took our paperwork, finished everything quickly, and handed us 2 divorce certificates. "Here you go, the divorce is finalized. From now on, you're no longer legally married." Chen Feng grabbed his certificate right away, like he was afraid I'd suddenly change my mind. "Linwan, we're done. From now on, whatever happens to either of us is none of the other's business. Don't come looking for me, no matter what happens." I gave a cold laugh. "Don't worry. I hope we never have anything to do with each other again. I don't want to see you for the rest of my life." Chen Feng snorted, got in his car without looking back, and sped off in a cloud of dust. I went back to my apartment, grabbed my jackpot ticket and ID, changed into something low-key, put on a mask and hat, and took a cab straight to the lottery claims center. My heart pounded the whole way, half nervous and half excited. Once I got there, I completed all the paperwork. The staff member handed me a bank card. "Ma'am, your winnings have been deposited here. Please check the balance." My hands were shaking as I held the card. I checked it at a nearby ATM, and when I saw that long string of numbers, it finally hit me. I really had been given a second chance. I had a brand new life and complete freedom. I never had to let anyone walk all over me again. Just then, Mom called, sounding deeply worried. "Wanwan, did you really divorce Chen Feng? What are you going to do now? How will you live on your own? Do you want to come home?" "Mom, how did you know?" I didn't tell anyone, I asked, confused. Chen Feng posted it all over his social feed with a photo of the divorce certificate. He wrote, "Single again. New life starts now. How long were you planning to hide this from me?" I opened my phone, checked Chen Feng's post, and almost burst out laughing. He'd posted, "Single again. You have to leave the wrong person to meet the right one. Time to go wild and start fresh." I laughed and commented, "After living with your family that long, yeah, I definitely felt like going crazy." Then I blocked him. Mom heard me laughing over the phone and immediately asked, "Wanwan, are you okay? Did the divorce hit you that hard?" "Mom, I'm fine. I'm coming home now and I'll explain everything in person, don't worry." After hanging up, I bought a first-class ticket on the next flight. I'd never flown like that before. Huge seat, super comfortable, full service. After landing, I took a private car straight home. Mom and Dad were already waiting outside. They had so much more gray hair, and life showed on their faces. They forced smiles, but they couldn't hide the worry in their eyes. We hadn't seen each other in 2 years. I couldn't stop smiling while they looked like they'd been worrying for days. I couldn't keep it from them any longer, so I pulled out my phone and transferred 1 million to each of them. "Mom, Dad, keep it." When they saw the amount, their eyes nearly popped out. They just stood there frozen, unable to process it. Dad stammered, "Wanwan?" What is this? Did Chen Feng give you this much money in the divorce? He sounded completely baffled, and I couldn't help laughing again. Mom, seriously? You know what Chen Feng is like? The man complained that my flight home for Lunar New Year was too expensive. You think he'd give me $2 million? His whole family probably isn't worth that much. I took their hands and smiled. I won the lottery. First prize, $15 million. We never have to worry about money again. Mom and Dad just stared with their mouths open. Once the shock finally wore off, they couldn't stop smiling. Mom burst into tears and gripped my hand. Really? That much? You're not messing with us, right? Then they asked, Chen Feng doesn't know about the lottery, right? And what about Yuxuan? Why didn't you bring him? He is your son, after all. I sighed and told them everything Chen Feng and his family had done to me. He won $700,000 and didn't give me a cent. When I got sick, they wouldn't spend a cent on my treatment. During the divorce, they made me walk away with nothing, and Yuxuan refused to come with me. Dad slapped his thigh in anger. I knew Chen Feng couldn't be trusted. He's selfish, but you insisted on marrying far away and wouldn't listen. Why didn't you tell us how badly they treated you? We could have helped. Mom's eyes turned red. I called you every day, and you always said you were doing great, eating well, living well. It was all a lie. You silly girl. You went through all of that by yourself. The mood was getting heavy, so I quickly joked, come on, the hard part is over now. That's all in the past. From here on out, it's good days only. But let's keep the money quiet. Only the three of us need to know about the jackpot. Don't tell anyone. We don't need trouble showing up at the door. Dad nodded seriously. Absolutely. Don't show it off. This money can support you for the rest of your life, so protect it and plan wisely. I hugged them both, my heart warm. At the end of the day, my parents were the ones who truly cared about me. No matter what happened, they were always in my corner. But doing nothing after winning the lottery, just eating, traveling, and having fun, got boring after a while. I felt directionless again. So I took Mom and Dad on a luxury tour. We went to Yunnan, Hainan, and Xinjiang and spent 2 carefree months traveling all over the country. We stayed at 5-star hotels, ate local specialties, saw gorgeous scenery, and took tons of photos. For those 2 months, I didn't post a single thing online. I was terrified Chen Feng's family might figure out where I was. Honestly, my self-control was impressive. After the trip, I bought my parents a huge apartment back home, bright, spacious, great natural light, and replaced their car with a comfortable new one. I told them, Mom, Dad, this car is for you. It'll make getting around easier. All of that cost less than $3 million. I still had more than enough left to live comfortably for life. Then I spent a month doing basically nothing. Eat, sleep, repeat. Life was so comfortable that it actually started making me restless. Then my landlord called. Ms. Lin, rent is due. That's when I realized I'd been living the luxury life for 3 straight months. I planned to pack up, end the lease, and move back home to live with my parents. But at the airport, I watched people rushing around for work and family. They looked exhausted, but hopeful. Suddenly, my own life felt kind of empty. I couldn't drift through the rest of my life like this. I went back to the apartment, spent 2 days thinking seriously about what I wanted next. I was still young, only in my 30s. I wanted to do something meaningful and prove what I could do. So I decided to start a business. But I'd spent 10 years as a stay-at-home wife, focused entirely on the household. I felt disconnected from the world and had no idea what industry to enter. Over the years, I'd picked up a habit. Whenever I couldn't think something through, I'd clean. Tidying the house always helped calm my mind. By then, I'd cleaned the apartment top to bottom. It was spotless. Even the window tracks were shining. Looking around the room, an idea suddenly clicked. Household work was what I knew best. I'd done it for 10 years and had plenty of experience. Maybe I could start a home services company. I've always been a doer. Once the idea hit, I immediately started researching the market. I decided to target middle and high-income households. They were busy, willing to pay for help, and cared a lot about service quality. To understand the market for real, I posed as a domestic worker and visited several upscale residential communities and staffing agencies. Employers kept telling me, good help is so hard to find. Either they're inefficient or they have no patience with kids. We're willing to pay well. We just want someone we can trust. The workers had complaints too. The work is exhausting. Employers don't respect us, and wages get delayed all the time. It's frustrating. That made my goal even clearer. Build a premium home services platform where clients feel secure and workers get respect and fair pay. After days of research, I settled on the model: premium service, experienced workers, standardized training, consistent quality, and transparent pricing. Today was my final neighborhood visit. It was a newly developed luxury community where property values had shot up. As I walked through the garden, I heard a familiar, overly sweet voice behind me. Zhao Guilan was calling out, Wei Wei, we're Chen Feng's family. We came specially to visit your parents. Could you please make an exception for us? I turned around. Sure enough, it was my former mother-in-law, Zhao Guilan. Her coat was faded from washing, her hair was messy, and she'd aged a lot. The moment our eyes met, Zhao Guilan dropped the fake sweetness and said to Chen Feng, Son, look, isn't that Lin Wan? What's she doing here? Chen Feng saw my plain clothes and assumed I was still some broke, abandoned ex-wife. Lin Wan, are you following me? What do you want? I gave him a disgusted glance. I ran into you by accident. Don't flatter yourself. Chen Feng waved impatiently. Just leave. Don't embarrass me here. Zhao Guilan chimed in. Exactly. My son is dating a rich family's daughter now. Look at you dressed like that. You're not even in his league. I was about to fire back when a slightly chubby young woman walked over. It was Chen Feng's new girlfriend, Liu Wei. She asked impatiently, "What are you doing here? My parents never said they were expecting visitors." Zhao Guilan instantly put on a smile and offered her fruit. Wei Wei, we're Chen Feng's parents. We came to talk about your marriage. Just a little gift, please take it. Liu Wei glanced at the fruit. My parents don't see people without an appointment. Come back another time. Then Liu Wei looked at me curiously. Who are you? Do you know them? Chen Feng jumped in first. No. She's just some stranger who came to the wrong place. I put on a hurt expression. I'm Chen Yuxuan's mother and Chen Feng's ex-wife. You don't have to be that cruel. The second Liu Wei heard I was the ex-wife, she got interested. She turned to Chen Feng. She's the selfish ex you said abandoned her husband and child? Chen Feng gave an awkward laugh. Yeah, she's heartless. Now she's reduced to working as a maid. That's karma. I immediately raised my voice so everyone nearby could hear. Everyone, tell me if this is fair. He knew I was sick and still forced me out of the marriage with nothing. I worked myself sick for his family for 10 years, cooking, cleaning, raising the kid, while he partied outside. Now he's telling people I abandoned my husband and son. I covered my face and coughed, looking absolutely pitiful. Zhao Guilan stepped forward as if to support me. But she whispered in my ear, Lin Wan, know your place. Leave now. Don't ruin my son's marriage, or you'll regret it. I pulled away, collapsed weakly to the ground, and shouted, Everyone, look! She treated me horribly before, and now she's pushing me and using my child to threaten me. Liu Wei pointed angrily at Chen Feng and Zhao Guilan. This is too much. I'm going to ask around and find out exactly what kind of people you are. Then she turned and ran off. Chen Feng and Zhao Guilan cursed at me. You jinx! You ruined everything! This isn't over! I stood up and said firmly, Domestic workers earn money through honest work. There's nothing shameful about it. Stay-at-home wives work just as hard as anyone with a job. Who are you to look down on them? Several stay-at-home moms nearby started clapping. Exactly. Well said. Chen Feng and Zhao Guilan looked humiliated. They muttered, mind your own business, and slunk away. Then a young woman came over and helped me up. Ma'am, are you okay? Did you get hurt? We got talking. Her name was Su Li. She worked as a nanny there and supported younger siblings back home. She was experienced and capable, so I got her contact info. Later, I told her, I want to start a premium home services company, and I'm looking for reliable people. Would you want to join me? She answered immediately. Absolutely. I've been looking for a trustworthy company for ages. With Su Li's help, the company came together quickly. She handled recruiting and training, and I hired Zhou Lei to bring in clients. I told Zhou Lei, we're selling premium service. Treat every client well. Our reputation is everything. Once the company officially opened, I bought the apartment I'd been renting and put down roots in the city. Profit wasn't my only goal. I wanted purpose and a way to help more women. Once the business was running smoothly, I made time to work out and take care of myself. I looked better and better. My parents came to stay sometimes, and life felt warm again. Then came a small twist. A video of my confrontation with Chen Feng's family got posted online and blew up. People roasted his family for how nasty they'd been. Someone also dug up that Liu Wei came from an ordinary family and wasn't some rich heiress at all. Chen Feng felt scammed and chased Liu Wei for the money he'd spent while dating her. You lied to me. Give me back everything I spent on you. Liu Wei was furious and reported him to his company. Between that and the viral video, the company fired Chen Feng on the spot. His boss told him, someone with your character has no place in this company. I can't lie, seeing how things turned out for him felt incredibly satisfying. Then, unbelievably, Zhao Guilan came to my company to apply for a domestic worker job. When she saw me sitting in the office, clearly doing well, she looked stunned. She pointed at me and yelled, You jinx, what are you doing here? I calmly said, We don't hire people with bad attitudes who don't meet our age requirements. You're not a fit. Please leave. She threw a tantrum. You're doing this on purpose. I'm reporting you. Su Li heard the noise and came out. I told her, Su Li, this woman came to apply, but she doesn't meet our requirements. Then I turned to Zhao Guilan. I'm the owner of this company. Still in shock, she accused me. Someone must be bankrolling you. This company has to be illegal. I pointed to the security camera. Everything here is recorded. Slander me again, and I'll call the police and take legal action. That finally scared her. She muttered, Just you wait, then stormed out with her tail between her legs. A few days later, Xiaoya at the front desk walked in carrying flowers. Boss, someone sent these for you. The card says, from someone who loves you. I recognized Chen Feng's handwriting instantly. Throw them out, don't leave them here. Sure enough, Chen Feng ambushed me after work. He dressed himself up and even slapped himself while apologizing. Wan, I was wrong. I know everything I did before was my fault. Please forgive me. Let's get back together. For Yuxuan's sake, give me one more chance. I scoffed. Cut the act. You only came back because I have money now. You want to wait until I die and inherit it? Dream on. Harass me again and I'm calling the police. Just then, Zhou Lei came out and stood beside me. Boss, are you okay? I'll take you home. Chen Feng immediately backed down. Wan, I'll prove I'm sincere. I'll bring Yushuan to see you. Then he hurried off. Later, Suli told me, boss, Chen Feng came by looking for you a few more times. When he couldn't find you, he left. After that, he stopped showing up. Later, I heard Chen Feng couldn't find work, lived on borrowed money, and fell deep into debt. Then he suffered a stroke and became disabled. Zhao Guilan had to work odd jobs, care for him and Chen Jianjun, and pay off the debts. She wore herself down and got sick too. Someone told me Zhao Guilan regretted everything so badly she cried every day, saying she never should have treated me that way. But they had brought it all on themselves. Meanwhile, I was stretched out on the sofa in my new villa, sipping wine and reading gossip. The place was gorgeous, with a beautiful garden outside. I checked in at the company sometimes, but mostly I traveled, worked out, and spent time with friends. My new life was full and happy. No more resentment or pressure, just freedom. I knew none of it had fallen into my lap. I'd fought for it. When you finally choose yourself, life can become something amazing. With Suli and Zhou Lei running operations, the business kept growing. Our premium home services brand built an excellent local reputation. Luxury residential communities and office buildings started approaching us for partnerships. To expand further, I signed up for a city entrepreneurs networking event, hoping to meet peers and potential partners for the company's next stage. That event was where I met Zhang Chen. He worked in smart home technology and was about my age, in his early 30s. He had a calm presence, spoke gently and politely, and didn't have an ounce of big boss arrogance. During the coffee break, he overheard me discussing premium home services with another business owner. He really liked my idea of combining human-centered service with standardized management. He came over and introduced himself. Ms. Lin, your approach to home services is unique. A lot of affluent families need service that's both caring and professional. Your company has huge potential. Zhang Chen's voice was warm and the appreciation in his eyes felt sincere. I paused, then smiled. You're too kind, Mr. Jiang. I'm just doing what I think should be done. Compared with your smart home business, mine is still tiny. We talked for a long time that day, from entrepreneurship to how we saw life. Surprisingly, we clicked. Zhang Chen had built his company from scratch too, and taken it near the top of the smart home industry. He understood how hard entrepreneurship was, and how difficult my transition from homemaker to founder had been. He never looked down on me. If anything, he showed empathy and respect, the complete opposite of Chen Feng's macho attitude. Talking to Zhang Chen felt easy. I didn't have to flatter him or walk on eggshells. I could just be myself. After the event, Zhang Chen added me on WeChat. We'd sometimes talk about work, and he'd give me practical management advice that genuinely helped. Sometimes he'd invite me to dinner, not as some aggressive pursuit, more like two friends spending time together. He'd listen to my company stories and problems and share his own startup experiences. Little by little, we grew closer. He never looked down on me for being a woman entrepreneur, and my failed marriage never made him hesitate. One day, my company landed a huge villa service contract. The client was extremely demanding. Suli's team worked for days, but one small detail still wasn't right. I rushed over to handle it and didn't finish until late at night. When Zhang Chen heard, he drove over to pick me up. There was warm milk tea and snacks waiting in the car. He simply said, "No matter how hard you work, take care of yourself too. Don't run yourself into the ground." Something in me softened. Since getting my second chance, I'd wrap myself in armor, learning to stand alone and depend on no one. But Zhang Chen's kindness felt like sunlight slipping into a room I'd kept closed for years. I knew I'd fallen for this gentle, steady man. Zhang Chen's confession came naturally. One breezy evening, he drove me home. At the gate to my villa's garden, he stopped and looked at me seriously. "Lin Wan, I've seen you struggle through business setbacks, seen how kindly you treat your employees, and seen the quiet side of you too. I like all of it. I want to walk the road ahead with you. Will you give me a chance?" No grand speech, just sincerity. I looked into his eyes, nodded, and tears slipped down my face. This time they were tears of being moved, of finally feeling cherished. Being with Zhang Chen showed me what it felt like to be truly treasured. He remembered what I liked. He knew I loved spicy food, so he'd asked the chef to tone down the heat without killing the flavor. He knew I loved flowers, so he planted my favorite roses and hydrangeas in the garden himself. He knew my past sometimes made me insecure, and he showed me through his actions that I deserved to be loved well. He never interfered with my work. When I wanted to expand into nearby cities, he helped me study the market and think things through. He introduced trustworthy partners and even connected me with a renovation team, making sure the new branch office was set up properly. But he never pushed his opinions on me. He always said, "This is your business. I'm just your support system. The final decision is always yours." He also understood that I still carried scars from the past. He never brought up Chen Feng's family unless necessary. If he heard they were gossiping behind my back, he'd quietly handle it so their drama never reached me. Once, Chen Feng somehow heard I was dating a wealthy man. He had the nerve to show up outside my company asking me for money, claiming I only succeeded because of a man. When Zhang Chen found out, he calmly had a lawyer warn Chen Feng to stop harassing me or face legal consequences. After that, Chen Feng never dared appear in front of me again. He disappeared from my life completely. Life with Jiang Chen was easy and peaceful. We'd go for morning runs together along the river, watching the sunrise and talking about our little goals. We'd curl up on the couch for movies with him holding me, shelling sunflower seeds and handing me fruit. We'd travel too, going wherever I wanted and seeing the world together. He photographed every smile of mine and said my smile was the most beautiful view he'd ever seen. His family liked me too. Jung Chen's parents were kind and reasonable. When they heard what I'd been through, they didn't judge me. They felt sorry for how much I'd suffered. They held my hand and said, "Wan Wan, we're your family now. If Chen Chen ever treats you badly, we'll be the first to deal with him." They never told me a woman should stay home and serve her husband and children. They encouraged my career and said a woman with her own ambitions shines brighter. After a year together, Jiang Chen proposed. No giant spectacle, just a warm, intimate moment. He got down on one knee in the rose garden we'd planted together, holding a diamond ring. He looked at me and said, "Lin Wan, meeting you is the luckiest thing that's ever happened to me. I want a home with you, one with you, me, and maybe our children someday. Let me spend the rest of my life with you." I nodded through tears and slipped on the ring. It fit perfectly, just like Jiang Chen seemed to fit every hope I'd ever had. Our wedding was simple and warm, with only close friends, family, and key employees from our companies. At the wedding, Jiang Chen held my hand and told everyone, "I didn't marry a wife whose only role is to stay home and serve the family. I married a partner who can stand beside me and the person I most want to cherish for the rest of my life." The room erupted in applause. My parents sat below with tears in their eyes. At last, they saw their daughter with someone who truly knew how to cherish her. Marriage stayed sweet, maybe even warmer than dating. Jiang Chen respected every choice I made, and I understood the demands of his work. We were spouses, but also best friends who truly understood each other. I kept running my home services company. With Jiang Chen's support, we expanded into several nearby cities and became a local industry benchmark. I also created a women's employment support center for women like me, women who'd once been trapped at home and wanted a chance to work or start something of their own. We taught them professional home service skills and connected them with jobs. Watching woman after woman gain financial independence and build a life she loved gave me a huge sense of purpose. Jiang Chen's smart home company also formed a deep partnership with mine. Together, we launched an integrated Smart Home Plus premium home service package for affluent households, making life more convenient and comfortable. The partnership was a win-win. In our free time, we'd visit both sets of parents. We'd drink tea with Jiang Chen's parents, shop for groceries and cook with mine, and just enjoy being together as a family. Sometimes we'd have date nights, see a movie, have a candlelit dinner, or just sit at home doing our own things and look up to smile at each other. Peaceful happiness really can be that simple. 2 years after we got married, I got pregnant. The whole family was thrilled, and Jiang Chen treated me like royalty. He cut out every unnecessary social event and came home right after work, making nutritious meals, taking walks with me, and telling stories to the baby. He'd rest his hand gently on my belly, eyes full of anticipation, and say, "Be good in there. Don't give mommy a hard time." After 9 months, I safely gave birth to a daughter. Jiang Chen named her Jiang Nianwan, a name carrying the wish that love would stay as true as the beginning, and her years would be peaceful. Our daughter brought even more joy into our lives. Jiang Chen instantly became the ultimate girl dad. Every day after work, the first thing he did was scoop her up and cover her in kisses. Even when she peed all over him, he'd laugh like it was the best thing ever. He changed diapers, made formula, and put her to sleep with me. He never called it women's work. "She's our child," he'd say. "Taking care of her is my responsibility as her dad." Looking at my gentle husband, my sweet daughter, and the roses blooming outside, I sometimes thought about my old life, the years of humiliation, being dismissed and abandoned by the Chen family. It felt like a nightmare from another lifetime. Now I had a husband who loved me, a beautiful daughter, a thriving career, and family who cared. I had become the person I'd always wanted to be. Now I lay in our warm villa beside my sleeping husband and daughter, stars filling the sky outside, while the roses in the garden gave off a faint fragrance in the night breeze. I knew this happiness hadn't appeared out of nowhere. After my second chance, I'd built it piece by piece with courage and effort. Life is never perfectly smooth. There will always be setbacks and betrayal. But if you don't give up on yourself, if you choose your own life, break free, and chase your own happiness, you can become the person you want to be. That's what happened to me. From a homemaker who quietly endured everything, to a founder who could stand on her own, to a wife and mother surrounded by love. My life proved that women can choose a new path at any age and build something wonderful. And looking ahead, I have Jiang Chen beside me, my daughter with me, a career worth building, and family I can lean on. I believe the years ahead will stay warm, peaceful, and happy. He understood the scars I carried from the past and never brought up Chen Feng's family on his own. If he heard they were talking behind my back, he'd quietly take care of it. His family loved me too. Jiang Chen's parents were kind and understanding, and after learning my story, they never judged me. Our wedding was simple and warm, with only relatives, close friends, and key employees from our companies. Zhang Chen's smart home company, also partnered closely with my home services business, and we launched an integrated smart home plus premium home service package. After 9 months, I safely gave birth to a daughter. Zhang Chen named her Zhang Nianwan, a name carrying the wish that love would stay true and her life would be peaceful. Now I lay in our warm villa beside my sleeping husband and daughter, stars filling the sky outside, while the roses in the garden scented the night breeze.